I, Sonia, extend a very warm welcome to all of you on behalf of Geeta Ratan International Business School. It is our privilege to have with us our esteemed guests, Ms. Nidhi, Chirag, Ruparel, Sachade, for eminent lecture series on universal human values. Geeta Ratan International Business School was established in the year 2004. It was affiliated to Guru Gobind Indraprastha University, Delhi, and approved by All India Council for Technical Education, AICTE, Ministry of HRD, Government of India for Technical Courses, and Bar Council of India for Law Courses. The institute conducts various courses, namely MBA First Shift, MBA Second Shift, MBA International, MCA, MCA Integrated, BBA LLB Integrated, BA LLB Integrated, and BBA. The institute is assessed as Category A by National Assessment and Accreditation Council, NAC, and Joint Assessment Committee of Government of Delhi and Guru Gobind Indraprastha University. At GIPS, trust is on overall personality development of students so that they can face the challenges in their competitive professional life and value-based approach. Apart from providing quality education, emphasis is to develop leadership quality, risk-taking ability, and decision-making skill right from beginning of their professional education. Going by this agenda, the Institute conducts eminent lecture series on regular basis. This eminent lecture series on universal human values is a sequence to the four said mentioned objective. This eminent lecture series and organized keeping above aspects in mind so that the futuristic professionals are properly guided about impending human values which they are going to face. In order to fulfill our objective of inculcating such expertise in our students, we have our eminent speaker with us, Mrs. Nidhi, Chirag, Rupar, Sachade. She has completed AICTE training from Universal Human Values and Professional Ethics Level 1 and 2. She has an overall experience of more than 10 years in leadership. She is interacting with faculty members and students through various workshops for introductory courses on UHV and at AICTE and at regional level. Presently, ma'am is working with Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon. So ma'am, we are honored to have you today with us here on this platform. So just without taking much of your time, ma'am, can I please ask you to enlighten our students on this topic?
Ji ma'am, sure. Thank you for that introduction. And I hope students are also getting this importance of the this lecture series as your institute is taking these efforts so that you are ready for not only the job but also you become life ready. Yes, so students, as we start, ma'am has already introduced me. I would just like to add to this that I will be your faculty co-explorer for this UHV orientation program. Okay. And then you may connect to your faculty members for further enhancing the understanding of this particular course. And I'm sure once you all find interest in the subject, your institute as well as your faculty member would also provide you the platform so that you can continue the interaction for this particular subject. With this, I would like to talk to some of you. That is just to ensure that we have this connect with each other. So now I would request some of you to raise your hand so that ma'am can provide you the mic and you can just introduce yourself. That is your name, from where you belong, and your hobby or interest. One particular you can share. About your family background you can just share, and then you can share your aspiration in life. That is what is important for me to know. Would that be okay, students? Can we have this interactive session for some 5 to 10 minutes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, great. Who is that? May I know?
Ma'am, Tanishq.
Yes, Tanishq. Please introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Tanishq Bindula. I'm from humanities background from DL Living School, Pitampura. My hobbies are singing and dancing, and the main hobby is to manage something or manage an event. And my aspiration is to become a entrepreneur.
Okay, that is very nice to know, Tanishq. It was good to know you. Can we have one more or
Thank
two
you.
students? Yes, Tanishq. We'll keep on interacting, Tanishq, throughout the session. Yes?
Ma'am, one more student is raising hand, Brahmajot. Ma'am, I
Yes.
will just unmute him.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, my
Yes.
name is Dr. Singh and I am from Delhi. Basically, I have Indian roots and the department in which I have enrolled myself is BBA first year. And my hobbies are and interests are that I love cycling and reading books. And the basic goal of my life is to live my life apart from all materialistic things. My basic goal is to live my life in awareness, full awareness of life.
That is very interesting. I have just missed your name because that was not audible. Will you please say it again?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am. Brahmjot Singh.
Gamjot Singh. Yes, nice to know about you, Gamjot. We'll keep on interacting, and that is very interesting to know that you would like to be aware all the time. So nice. Can we have some more students?
Any other student? Ma'am, Ramandeep Singh is also raising hand. Please, Ramandeep, go ahead. Yes, Ramandeep. We can't hear you. Okay, Ramandeep, you are not audible, Ramandeep. Shreya is there, ma'am. Next, Shreya, will you speak?
Ma'am, my name is Shreya Sachdev, and I basically belong from Thangar, Gujarat. My basic hobbies are that I like to read and write a lot. And my goal or achievements would be I would like to make my surroundings happy. My basic goal is not being rich or earning money. My basic goal is to make everyone happy and myself happy.
Okay, Shreya, nice to know about you. We'll keep on interacting throughout the session and we'll see what we can do for this continuous happiness. Yes. Yes, that was very nice. Ma'am, Sonia
Yes.
ma'am,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
many students have joined, ma'am?
Ma'am, there are 194 students.
That is great. So, students, I just could interact with 3 of you, but I'll be very happier if you all keep on interacting throughout the session by putting your responses in the chat box. I hope the chat box is available to you and you are able to put your responses there. Just one more request I would have is that you can just be specific when you provide your responses in the chat box. And also, we will be having a short quiz at the end of today's session. So all of you are just, you have to be aware that you are listening the session, you are reciprocating it within, and then you can appear for the quiz. And that is how, as you have said, that you would like to become an entrepreneur. Somebody said, I would like to be aware. Somebody said, I would like to be happy. So, some of these common aspirations we have got. Now we will continue with this. I hope you are carrying a notebook or a page with you. This assignment I'm going to give you for sure, but you can just right now have an eye on it, that you have to make a list of your aspirations, the expectations of your family and friends, and the hopes you see the nation has from you. So you are going to prepare these 3 columns where you are going
Ma'am, you are not audible.
in terms of academics. Ma'am, am I able to communicate with you?
Yes, ma'am. In between, there was some disturbance, but now it's perfect.
Yes, and the slides are visible, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's nice. Yes. And the third thing which is expected is you will make a list of your concerns, the fears or confusions or questions which you have. You know, when we look around, we may have some concerns, we may have some fears, we may have some confusions or some questions which we would like to ask to our parents or our people from the society, or we may have questions which are pertaining to the nature part. So all of these you are going to list down. Listing them down is what is expected from you. And of course, at the end of I'm going to share this with you. Now what we can do to just begin with, we will notate them here. So again, I would like to interact with some of you. Ma'am will be able to give you the mic. I have come out of this full screen mode so that we can write it down together, as Tanishq, Shreya and somebody else was also there. I'm sorry, I have forgotten. Gamjot, yes. So their aspirations I'm writing. By that time, you can also start interacting with me to let me know of your achievements or some of the concerns. We will just list them down together. Yes. Students, would you like to interact? You can just raise your hand. Will that be okay? Or you can share your response in the chat box also. Ma'am, if it is okay, will you please let me know of their responses if they have put it up in the chat box?
I'm seeing the chat box, and if there is any, I'll just let you know.
Yes, yes. By that time, I may be writing some common achievements that students may have come, first in the class. That is what is the common achievement which, students share when we do conduct these workshops. Students, I'm writing some of the achievements so that it gives you the idea of how you can share it. You can just mention it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can interact. That would be nice.
Ma'am, students are raising hand. Should I unmute them?
Sure, ma'am, sure. That is what is necessary, ma'am. Sure, sure.
Okay. Okay, Shivam, you can speak. Shivam? Shivam has raised hand. Shivam?
Yes, ma'am.
Beta bolo. हाँ beta.
Ma'am, a very good afternoon, ma'am. I, Shivam Katyal, and I am basically from Delhi, and my background was commerce background, and my hobbies are I love to do helping peoples and communicating with peoples, and my aspirations is to become a good businessman.
Very nice, Shivam. Nice to know. Shivam, would you like to share some of your concerns or questions which you have, or some of your fears would you like to share here? Will that be okay, Shivam?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. जैसे हम कहते हैं ना शिवम, आई होप इट हेल्प्स यू. हम कहते हैं for some of our students they are concerned about the environmental changes which are taking place, है ना. कुछ हमारी students कहते हैं we are when we go out in the night, when it is mandatory for us to travel in the night, we have to do so, but at that time we are having this fear that whether we will be secure or not. So any such kind of concern would you like to share? आप शेयर कर पाएंगे शिवा? Ma'am, can we provide mic to some of other students?
Vikram Garg has raised hand. Vikram,
Yes.
will you like to speak? Vikram?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ
I'm
बेटा,
like,
विक्रम, बोलो. हाँ बेटा.
ma'am, my name is Vikram Garg. I belong from Shalimar Bagh, and I belong from St. Rosary Public School, which is in Shalimar Bagh, Delhi. And ma'am, my hobbies are to like play games and sports, and also reading. Not in the professional way, but like small paragraphs or like this to develop my mind. And my aspiration is to become a good and wealthy businessman. That's all,
Okay.
ma'am.
Vikram, would you like to share some of your achievements or concerns? Will that be okay? Aspiration you have already shared. Here.
Ma'am, I don't have that a great achievement, but I in sports, in my school in sports, I become a captain of volleyball team. That's my achievement for my that's my first achievement for my life.
Yes.
I got.
And concern,
ma'am,
would you like to share?
Ma'am, I have a fear of height. I have a fear of height, but I want to but I want to climb to the sky, like too high.
Yes.
But I have a fear of height.
Problem. Yes. Thank you for sharing it. Yes. With this input from all of you, I think we can go ahead a little bit. And students, I must say, if you keep on interacting and keep on providing your responses, the session would be fruitful for all of us, as I'm also, exploring it with you all. So for me also, your sharing would be helpful. So I request you to take part, proactively. Yes. So yes.
Ma'am, in the chat box, sorry to interrupt you. In chat box, one student has written, so I'll just read it out.
Yes, sure.
She is Khushi Mittal, and she's saying, ma'am, myself Khushi Mittal. I'm basically from Gwalior, MP. I just need basic practical knowledge about the market and surrounding, as I want to do a startup in the future. Like
that is great, Khushi. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And right now we may have written one or two aspirations of ours that we are able to, just are able to pay attention to what are we aspiring for. If you are going to spend some more time with yourself, then you will be getting, this more information about yourself, that which are other aspirations of yours, which you are able to note down for yourself. तो आज आपको क्या करना है, थोड़ा और टाइम अपने आप के साथ भी स्पेंड करना है, और जैसे कहा गया है आपको ये एस्पिरेशंस का, अचीवमेंट्स का और कंसर्न्स का लिस्ट अपने आप के लिए रेडी रखना है ना. तो नाउ the purpose of having this aspirations, concerns and achievements is that as we go ahead, we are going to further explore into these aspirations, and we are also going to talk about some of our concerns today. So here we start with explorations of our aspirations and concerns. So as noted down, we have listed down your aspirations, achievements and concerns. So if you have a look at it, many of us would like to become an entrepreneur, a businessman, so that we are rich and wealthy. Some of you would say that I would like to become an happy person. Or some of you may be saying that, we just want to climb high. We want to be aware about ourselves. This is what we aspire for. And the general concerns we have is about our security, about our family, about our own individual concerns like anger management, time management, stress management, the issue of self-confidence, the issue of public speaking, or for that matter, fear of height also could be one of the concern as shared. So now, as we know some of our basic aspirations and concerns, now we will go ahead. Now what you have to look at is that we all are making tremendous effort. So today you are attending this eminent lecture series. I am sure your institute has arranged such series of lectures for you. So you all are taking effort so that you join for the class in time. You get ready for the class. Whatever assignments are shared with you, you are completing them, right? So we all are making tremendous efforts. Now what we have to look at is that whatever effort we are taking, are these effort to fulfill our aspirations? A, or B option is to resolve our concerns or confusions and questions, or C part is for something else. I would just share this experience. One of my students who was attending the workshop said to me, ma'am, I would like to have this aspiration that I want to learn to drive. So he was learning this driving of a four-wheeler vehicle. So I said, wow, very nice. Then I asked, what are your achievements? So he shared, ma'am, I have already given a test so that I get that learning license, and for that I had read a lot. I went through all the symbols which were given to me for studying it. I remembered them. I took the effort so that I can appear for the exam, and I enrolled myself and I appeared for it. And I got cleared that examination. So I was like, okay, nice. Then I asked, what are your concerns? So he said, ma'am, जब भी मैं गाड़ी चलाता हूँ ना, है ना, जब अभी मैं सीख ही रहा हूँ, ड्राइविंग क्लास मैंने शुरू की है, मैं अब चला तो रहा हूँ, पर हर बार है ना मैं थोड़ा सा ऐसे डरा डरा सा चलाता हूँ कि कहीं दूसरी साइड से कोई व्हीकल अचानक से ना आ जाए. तो I was like, okay. So I told him to observe it, है ना, on behalf of him you also can observe. जो हम ये ड्राइविंग का क्लास कर रहे हैं ना, ये this is one of our effort. So why are we basically taking this effort? Are we want to learn, ready to, so that we are able to drive the car, or we are learning the driving so that we can avoid people who are, driving rash, or it is for something else? हमें इस बात की तरफ हमारा थोड़ा सा ध्यान जो है ना, we just have to start observing it. And while doing so, as I have shared, you can also make a list of all the effort that you are making. So as I said, attending the class, doing the assignment, submissions, these are some of the efforts. Like this, you also can list down other efforts which you are making, and then you will probably be able to see, what do you think? Why are we taking these effort? Can students provide their response in the chat box? A, B, or C part? Yes. Ma'am, are we getting some responses from students in the chat box?
Ma'am, I'm checking it.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, I don't see any right now in the chat box.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Students, I would again request you that you can actively participate in the session, because this journey which we are going to have for next 1.15 hours, will be, we have already started and it is 15 minutes over. But for next remaining time, if you keep on interacting, if you keep on reflecting it within yourself, the session will of course be fruitful for you all. So what do you think? In which directions are efforts Are they for fulfilling our aspirations, or are they for resolving our concerns, or are they for something else? What do you think? Somebody can unmute and interact also. That would also be okay.
Ma'am, I can see in the chat box now.
Yes.
Ma'am, my name is Puneet Jain. I belong from Delhi. I want to be a successful businessman. My concern is the environmental changes like political changes in our society related to business or many other changes which affect the business. Sometimes when we see that government passes some guidelines like polythene is banned, and after some time 1 month or 2 months they said the polythene will not continue. This affects business. Many start in other field, but when after government pass the guideline that you can continue polythene or anything, this will affect business, and many of us will fear that we have to do new startups or not.
Yes, yes. I can connect with you. So would you like to share जो आप अभी पूरे दिन में effort लेते रहते हैं ना, what do you think your efforts are towards fulfillment of your aspiration to become an entrepreneur, or you are mostly focusing on how to resolve your concerns? What do you think?
Ma'am, I want to resolve my concerns. I can uh, take news from the newspaper or Google or YouTube, but it will not guarantee me 100% assurity that it will resolve my problem.
Yes, yes, you have pointed it right, है ना? So just looking at concerns and taking efforts in resolving our concerns, will it be sufficient or not? That now we will look into. Thank you for your sharing. Yes, we'll go ahead, है ना? So now when we make a list of our effort, we can also note down why are we making that effort, as he said rightly, है ना? That taking the some news from the newspaper and looking at what the current scenario is, so my effort is so that I can resolve the concern, है ना? So that is that why part. So somebody may write, I am taking this effort because I want to fulfill some of my aspiration. Somebody may say, I am taking effort, but I am right now not interested in looking for fulfilling the aspiration or resolving the concern. At this moment, I am just looking into doing that effort. So it could be anything. We just have to look at its reason. Now, when we do so, are we able to pay attention to what is our basic aspiration? है ना? तो हम सब लोग जैसे कह रहे हैं, we would like to become an entrepreneur, we would like to start a startup, we would like to become rich or wealthy person. So behind doing this, behind having this aspiration, behind doing all of the efforts, what is that our basic aspiration that we would like to now search into, है ना? So for example, I may say I'm studying hard so that I get a degree, so that I get a job. Then after 2 to 3 years, when I have some sufficient fund, I may be able to start my own startup. But what after that? That now we are going to find out. Somebody who is already working may say, I'm working diligently so that I can earn a respectable living, so that my family members' needs are getting fulfilled, so that what should happen next now that we are going to explore further. Okay, so our present effort and what we are expecting to become something out of it, that now we are going to see. So some of the examples which are there here, you can have a look at the screen. So a student may say, I'm studying so that I can become an engineer. Some of you may say we are doing BBA, or later we will be pursuing MBA so that we become a businessman. Somebody who is researching may say, I'm expecting to become a scientist. Somebody who is already practicing on the farm may say, I am expecting to become a farmer. Somebody who is attending some coaching classes may say, I expect to become an IS officer. So these are our efforts which we, do. So studying would be having tremendous other effort involved in it, right? Doing internship also would have, other efforts involved in it. So that will again, I think, whether I should join this class or that class, and then I actually start attending the class. So thinking, doing something, this cycle goes on continuously, because from this we are expecting to become something. Now see, once we are able to see this expectation of becoming something, now what are we expecting to get or do something? We have to now look at it. So a student may say, I am doing this MBA or BBA course so that I become a businessman, and then I get some money, I earn name and fame. I may be able to do some research or innovation in the field of marketing. Somebody may would say that, so that I can take care of my parents, I earn my living well, I am able to live with self-respect, I get some power in the society, I earn some respect, and then I get satisfaction. So this is how the list may continue. Are you able to connect to it? That we are doing or thinking something. So that becomes our effort. We are expecting to become something out of it. That is, the role which we see for ourselves. And then from that, we are expecting to get something. I'm expecting to get money, power, fame, respect, earnings, So this is what all I'm expecting. But dear students, are you able to see what are we expecting to be out of this all effort, becoming and getting something? क्या लगता है आप लोगों को? ये सब जब हम कर रहे हैं, हम सभी लोग, है ना? We are taking effort for a fulfilling life. But what ultimately we would like to become? What do you think? Would somebody like to interact? And I would request you can just be specific in providing your response, है ना? आप अपना नाम बोलकर क्या बनना चाहते हैं ना, क्या इसमें से बनना चाहते हैं, वो अगर शेयर करेंगे तो that would be very useful. Will that be okay? और आप चैट में भी रिस्पॉन्स दे सकते हैं. Yes, Shreya, are you there? Are you able to connect to it? Yes. Ma'am, are we getting some responses or somebody has raised hand?
Right now, anyone who wants to speak anything, students, you can please raise your hand. I'll unmute. Or you can write in the chat box also.
Yes, that can also be done. And again, I would request, as ma'am said, almost 199 have joined the meeting. I expect at least some of you to provide your response in the chat box.
Actually, ma'am, they are writing in the chat box. That I wanted to interrupt. They are writing like to fulfill aspiration. Deepak Jain has written. Then Brahmajot has written. Then Khushi Mittal has also written to fulfill our aspiration. Then like this they are writing. Help us to overcome our life hardship. Brahmajot has wrote. Okay, ma'am. Samyak Jain has wrote that he wants to become an entrepreneur.
That is great. So, you want to become something, that is right. But are you able to connect to it that after becoming an entrepreneur, as you said, what would you like to get out of it? And once you got that, whatever you wish to, at this state, what would you like to be? That answer for B we are finding out together. Okay. If I suggest this word to you, do you think all of our effort are in this direction of becoming happy and prosperous, as in the beginning Shreya had shared? Do you think, is this right? So whatever effort we are taking, when our parents are happy, when we are able to take care of our parents, when our parents feel proud of us, ultimately it is I who become happy, right? So this is the state where each one of us would like to go. Are you able to see the connect now? है ना, हम सभी लोग हैप्पी एंड प्रॉस्पेरस बनना चाहते हैं, है ना। तो अभी थोड़ा सा यहाँ पर हम एक बार रिफ्लेक्ट कर ले, है ना। कोई भी एफर्ट पूरा दिन में आप ऐसा कोई एफर्ट ले रहे हो क्या जिससे आप अनहैप्पी बन जाओ या फिर आप डिप्राइव्ड बन जाओ? ऐसे कोई एफर्ट हम लेते हैं क्या पूरे दिन में? यू कैन जस्ट पे अटेंशन टू इट, है ना। तो नाउ वी विल बी एबल टू सी among this 1, 2, 3 and 4 what do you think what is our basic aspiration, है ना। हम जो काम करते हैं ना पूरा दिन, क्या वही हमारा एस्पिरेशन है या फिर हम उसमें से कुछ बनना चाहते हैं? जैसे एंटरप्रेन्योर आपने बहुत सारे लोगों ने कहा है, तो एंटरप्रेन्योर बनना ही हमारा एस्पिरेशन है क्या? या फिर अगर उसमें से हमें कुछ अचीवमेंट मिल रहा है, जैसे यू नो वी आर गेटिंग दिस मनी, वी आर गेटिंग गुड सैलरी, वी आर गेटिंग you know some post, we are getting respect in the society, so do we aspire for getting that, or ultimately we are expecting to become happy and prosperous? So are you able to see that this is our basic aspiration of being happy and prosperous, है ना? Now if we check these all, that is our effort, becoming something, expecting to get something, so these are all the steps towards our basic aspiration, है ना? So the right way as we are proposing is to have this clarity of basic aspiration and then to move ahead to take these steps forward so that we ultimately have this basic aspiration fulfilled, है ना? Are you able to see the difference between basic aspiration and the steps, है ना? As I said, you know, are we taking some steps so that we become unhappy or deprived? So, you know, most of you would say, of course, no. Ultimately, you know, even if you ask it to a child or to an elderly person, even they would say whatever we are doing, it is for being happy, right? So for fulfillment of our basic aspiration, now it becomes essential to choose the steps that lead to the basic aspiration. Otherwise, क्या हो जाएगा? You know, if we are not clear about our basic aspirations, we may be taking different steps, but we do not know ultimately where we want to head to, right? So now we can check if we are choosing the steps with clarity, which will definitely lead to happiness and prosperity, or we have got some assumptions related to our happiness and prosperity, and that way we are leading towards it. We can have a look at it. So when we are able to see, if I have this no clarity about my basic aspiration, you know, this incident was shared by one of the participant in the workshop. जब हम physical workshop करते हैं ना, तो वन पार्टिसिपेंट सेड, मैं गया था एक टिकट बुक करवाने के लिए, स्टेशन पर गया और मैंने उनसे कहा कि सर मुझे एक टिकट दे दो। तो उन्होंने कहा अच्छा अभी आप ठाणे में हैं तो कहाँ जाना है? तो ही सेड, नो नो सर, you just give me a ticket of a train which has AC, which has good food served in it, which has, you know, whatever amenities required, like having a Wi-Fi, having a charging point, और बेडिंग भी मुझे चाहिए, तो ये सब जिस भी ट्रेन में होगा ना उसका ट्रेन का टिकट मुझे दे दीजिए। So that person started laughing and he said, sir, if you are not clear about where you want to go, how are we going to help you then, है ना? तो अभी हम हमारे लिए चेक कर सकते हैं that if we do not have this clarity of our basic aspiration, that where we want to reach, है ना, and where we want to stay, if that is not clear, then it is likely possible that our effort may keep changing, है ना. Sometimes we may think that if I watch a movie, then I'll be happy and we start doing so. Sometimes I may say, if I do this particular course, I will be happier, and then, you know, we start doing that course. So according to our assumptions, our direction of effort also keeps changing. And we may not be sure if we have arrived there or not. So after completion of a course or after the movie is done, now I am not sure if I am happy or not. You know? So very likely that there will be a mix of satisfaction and dissatisfaction. That is happiness sometimes, unhappiness sometimes. So if the basic aspiration is not clear, or if it is very vague, like I know I aim for the sky, I just want to make money and have fun, I want to travel the world, है ना? If this is how our basic aspiration is set, there may be this kind of confusion created in my effort, in what do I expect to become, in what I'm expecting to get once I have become something, है ना? तो are you able to relate to it? आप सभी लोग relate कर पा रहे हैं? Just yes or no in the chat box. Are you able to relate to it? Quickly, Y or N in the chat box. Yes.
Yes, ma'am, they're writing yes.
Great, great. That is nice. है ना? So now, if we are clear about our basic aspiration, that this is the destination I want to go. Now I'm sure that I want to travel to Delhi. I am at this moment in Shirdi, Maharashtra. So my, this particular place where I want to go to is fixed, right? Now I can just see to my current state. Now I am there in Shirdi, right? So now I can decide of taking the effort so that I can reach here in Delhi. Right? So I may be thinking or doing something. I may then, expect that I'm getting some ticket, So out of that ticket, I will be able to travel and then I'll be reaching Delhi. So if now we are able to pay attention to this, that each one of us aspires to be always happy and prosperous, if our basic aspiration is what we have looked at clearly, now once we evaluate our current state, that where I am, now we will be able to plan the steps that connect and lead to the fulfillment of our basic aspiration. Then our direction becomes definite, है ना? अभी देखिए, अगर मैंने आपसे कहा, देखिए स्टूडेंट्स, मैं आप लोगों को मिलने के लिए दिल्ली आ रही हूँ और अभी मैं शिरडी में हूँ, तो आप कहेंगे कि मैम एक काम कर लीजिए, फ्लाइट्स भी अवेलेबल है, एक टिकट करवा लीजिए, या फिर आप ट्रेन से भी ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं, या फिर आप बाय कार भी आ सकते हैं. So now, when it happens that I went to book a ticket for flight and I could not get any, है ना? अगर ऐसा हो रहा है और अगर मैं उसके लिए अनहैप्पी हो गई, मैंने कहा देखो मुझे तो फ्लाइट का टिकट ही नहीं मिल रहा है, तो क्या एडवाइस करेंगे आप लोग मुझे? Should I continue to be unhappy about it or should I find an alternate path so that I reach to the destination? आप मुझे क्या एडवाइस करेंगे और आप खुद जनरली क्या करते हैं? यू कैन जस्ट रिफ्लेक्ट अपॉन इट. जब भी ये सिंबल आता है ना, दैट इज द टाइम व्हेन यू हैव टू जस्ट रिफ्लेक्ट इट विद इन योरसेल्फ. आप लोग इसको अपने में सोचेंगे. क्या लगता है आपको? है ना? जैसे कुछ स्टूडेंट से हम सुनते हैं, वो कहते हैं आई वॉन्टेड टू गो टू यूएस फॉर माई डिग्री बट नाउ आई वॉज फोर्स्ड टू टेक एडमिशन हियर एज माई पेरेंट्स सेड आई हैव टू डू. नाउ माई ड्रीम्स आर शैटर्ड, है ना? Or somebody may say, I did not get the branch of my choice. Now my motivation to study is gone. Now I may say, I did not get the institute I wanted. For all of you, आप लोगों को institute तो मिला ही है, but for some of you, some of the other students, if they did not get the choice of institute they wanted, they may say, now I am unhappy. So what do you think? Continue to be unhappy about whatever path I have, got is the right thing to do, or it is right that I find an alternate path? What do you think? A or B, or red or blue? Which text you support for? तो क्या हो सकता है? अगर हमारा एस्पिरेशन टू बिकम हैप्पी है तो उसके लिए अलग अलग पाथ हो सकते हैं या फिर एक ही पाथ है जिसी से हम हैप्पी हो सकते हैं? Yes, you can put your response in the chat box or directly you can talk to me. Will that be okay? अगर आप quickly share करेंगे तो?
Ma'am, they are writing in the chat box and many of them have wrote about alternate path. Okay, Priyansh. Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, है ना? तो अभी हम अपने आप के लिए देख लेंगे. In a day it must be happening with us many a times that we said if I just talk to some of my friends I'll be feeling happy, and at that moment the friend is not available. So now do I have to be unhappy about that particular part that I could not talk to my friend, or I can find out an alternate activity, है ना? तो हम छोटे छोटे एक्टिविटीज में भी इसको अपने आप के साथ कनेक्ट करके देखें, है ना, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली वी सेड वी वांट टू बी हैप्पी ऑल द टाइम, राइट? सो वी कैन नाउ लुक इट फॉर आवरसेल्व्स. जब ऐसे कोई कहेगा कि मेरे ड्रीम्स तो शैटर्ड हो गए हैं, है ना, तो देन यू कैन ऑल्सो टॉक टू दैट पर्सन एंड यू कैन जस्ट हेल्प देम टू हैव दिस क्लैरिटी. जो यूएस में जाके डिग्री मिल रहा था, है ना, उसके बाद अल्टीमेटली जॉब करने के बाद पेरेंट्स को हैप्पी करना चाहते थे या फिर और कुछ एम था. तो क्लैरिटी अगर बेसिक एस्पिरेशन की हो जाए, है ना, तो फिर हम तो अलग अलग पाथ ले ही सकते हैं, राइट? दैट इज वेरी नाइस. So for summing up this session, I would say each one of you have some aspirations, है ना? But if we are not clear about our basic aspiration, then we have seen, है ना, that we may be taking some other decision at this moment, and after some time we may be thinking, no, this one is not right. I have to go for some other program. But with clarity of the basic aspiration, which is to be continuously happy and prosperous, if we have that clarity, now at the level of implementation, we can have several ways in terms of becoming something, getting something, so that we fulfill our basic aspiration. Many a times it may be happening that our favorite path has been, there, but now it is now at the moment not available. Now what we can do? We can just find out an alternative path. This is what you all have found out it for yourself, है ना? And now we can help each other in exploring all the possibilities which still exist in becoming happy and prosperous all the time. So we will be exploring it in the next session. By end of the session, you can write down your takeaways. Are you able to see that your basic aspiration is really happiness or prosperity or not? Then you can also find out what is your perspective about happiness and also about prosperity. And then you can reflect on your response or reaction to situations where your favorite path to what you assume to be your goal. Now, if it is closed, now what do you do? So you can just write down some related incident about it, and you can keep that notebook with you so that it becomes guiding factor, That's great. Now we will be heading towards our next session. Yes. Ma'am, are you able to see my second screen?
Ma'am, right now I can see that two options which you gave about the alternative path and one about that.
Yes.
That screen is there.
Just give me a moment. I'm sharing my other screen. Now is it okay?
Ma'am, it says session 3, basic human aspiration and their fulfillment.
Yes. So this is our session. And here I would be expecting all of you to respond in the chat box. And ma'am, if you can just give me a glimpse at what has been their common, response for that particular part of the session, then that would be helpful for me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Certainly. I'll do.
Are you all ready? Shall we start with this next session?
Yes, ma'am.
That's great. Okay, we will be starting. Now, as we said, that our basic aspiration is to, remain happy and prosperous all the time. And now we may be planning to take some of the effort in this direction, right? Now, as we have seen, our basic aspiration is definite. If you observe it for yourself, it does not keep changing, So throughout the day, any time, to any person, if we ask, would you like to be happy all the time? So what do you think? What the person is going to respond? You can ask it to yourself, or, for the other person also, if the question remains same, what do you think? What can be the responses? So if we observe it carefully, so you'll be able to see this basic aspiration for each human being, is definite. It does not keep changing. Now, we are going to explore it in this session, but the way of, understanding this is exploring the things on our own right, and this is what is the process of exploration, that whatever is said will be a proposal for you all. as I am sharing, or, for that matter, if somebody else is also sharing, you are not going to assume it to be true or false, right or wrong, but you are going to verify it on your own right. That is on the basis of our natural acceptance. So in Hindi we call it as सहज स्वीकृति. हमारी सहज स्वीकृति क्या है, इस आधार पर हम चीजों को जांचेंगे और फिर अपने आप के लिए सही क्या है उसकी परख हम खुद ही करेंगे, है ना? क्या लगता है आप लोगों को? Will it be okay if, for this 1 hour session, if I keep on, sharing with you this is what is you all have to do. So there is this list of do's available, and then there is this list of don'ts available for you. Do you think will you be able to follow all the do's or don'ts if somebody else has shared with you? है ना? Or else this process you think would be quite right to verify the things on our own right, है ना? तो क्या लगता है आप लोगों को? What is the option would you pursue for? A, where do's and don'ts are given, or B, you are verifying things on your own right? A or B?
Ma'am, students are writing in the chat box. Almost all of them, Lavanya, Dhruv, Vakshita, Riyan, Tushar, Kanika. So many are there, ma'am, Pramajot, Prince. They all are writing, ma'am, B.
Great, है ना? So now how it would begin? This is a dialogue between me and you to start with, है ना? This is the process of having a dialogue. Initially, it will be there between you and me, and then soon it is expected that it will become a dialogue within each one of us, है ना? जैसे ही session खत्म हो जाएगा, we'll keep on asking the question to ourselves, and we have this possibility within each one of us to get the answers. Answers कैसे मिलेंगे? Between what I am at this moment and what I really want to be, है ना? So now if I'm able to see that, what I really want to be is happy. At this moment, I may be thinking that because I could not, have a good food this morning as I expected it from my mother, I am unhappy at this moment. So at this moment, if I am unhappy and I really want to be happy, then what I have to do is, I have to go for some program. I have to go for understanding what this happiness is. So there is this continuous dialogue between, we ourselves. Initially, I'll ask you some questions, which will help you to check for your natural acceptance. So now, if I ask you this question, what do you think? What is naturally acceptable to you all? To nurture yourself or to harm yourself? क्या लगता है? Nurture N, harm H. You can provide your response. N or H?
Ma'am, mostly students are writing in Sahib Jyot, Yatin, Riya, Akshita, Gunjit, Shreya, all are writing in.
है ना? तो देखिए आप ये जो N आंसर कर रहे हैं ना, नर्चर वाला, तो आपने क्या इस आंसर को ढूंढने के लिए किसी सर्च इंजन का इस्तेमाल किया है? Did you use Google for it or you asked it to yourself? I'm sure, है ना? You must have asked it to yourself. And this answer which you are getting for yourself within you of nurturing yourself, this is what is our natural acceptance is, है ना? So when we are able to refer to our natural acceptance, we are getting these definite answers within, and that is what is our natural acceptance. I'm sorry. Okay, now we are again going to ask some series of questions to ourselves. Students, you just have to be really quick in answering them all. Sorry. Yes, I'm back. Sorry. So we can just check for our aspiration that do we want to be happy? Do we want to be prosperous? And do we want the continuity of happiness and prosperity? We can ask these questions to ourselves. है ना? हम अपने आप को पूछकर 1, 2 and 3 questions है ना? तो अगर आप 1, 2, 3 के लिए yes लिख सकते हैं तो that way you can write yes, why, or you can write n. So if you think that I want to be happy, then you can write why. But if you think that I do not want this happiness and prosperity continuously, so then you can write 3n. That way you can provide your responses, है ना? हम अपने आप से ये जो डायलॉग है ना, इसको अब हम अपने आप में इनिशिएट कर रहे हैं. Yes, students, are you able to find out the answers for yourself? बहुत basic questions है, we may be thinking, but we really have to check it for ourselves.
Ma'am, they all are writing in the chat box. Lakshya, Sahib Jod, Khushbu Jaiswal, Lavanya Agrawal has written continuity of happiness and prosperity.
Okay.
Yes.
So, yes, है ना? This is what we want to be, है ना? What we want to be is that we have found out, and now we can check what is our state of being at this moment, what we are. Are we happy? At this moment, I may be saying, I'm very happy as I'm able to, connect with you all. Okay. Are we prosperous? So I am having this feeling of prosperity at this moment. I wanted to connect to you all. I have this laptop. I have this headphone. I have, a sufficient internet connection. I am feeling prosperous. But now I can check, is there continuity of happiness and prosperity? So for example, this moment, if it happens that I may lose my internet connection, then I wanted to share the contents with all of my students, and then immediately if this internet facility is not there with me, will I be able to maintain the state of my happiness or not? That we just have to reflect upon. हम अभी तो खुश हैं, अभी तो prosperous हैं, लेकिन उसकी continuity है ना, क्या हम अपनी लाइफ में अपने लिए देख पाते हैं क्या? So for this last question you can answer yes or no. Yes. आप सभी.
Yes, in the chat box I can see Shivam Katyal has written yes, ma'am.
That's great, Shivam. Now, when we are talking about this continuity, we are talking about every moment. Every moment, am I able to ensure this happiness and prosperity for me? Is it possible for me to remain happy all the time without a moment of unhappiness? ऐसा हो पा रहा है क्या कि हम continuously 24/7 happy हैं और prosperous भी है? ऐसा हो पा रहा है क्या? We just have to look at it carefully. अभी थोड़ा सा आप रिफ्लेक्ट करके बता सकते हैं चैट बॉक्स में. Okay, by the time you are reflecting, so for me, if I am able to observe, this continuity of happiness and prosperity is not there for me. At this moment, I may be feeling prosperous. If other time, I have this preconditioning that if I get a very good car, then only I'll be happy. And the moment I get the car, okay, that particular moment I am thinking I'm happy. Okay, but very next moment, if I get some news that, there is this lockdown announced in the country, for example, okay, don't worry, this is just an example. So if that kind of news I'm just reading or getting this news, will I be able to ensure my happiness in continuity? This we can observe, है ना? अभी आप तुरंत ही आंसर करें ऐसी कोई जरूरत नहीं है, बट आप इस क्वेश्चन को ओपन रखिए कि कितना टाइम हम इस हैप्पीनेस को निरंतरता में इंश्योर कर पा रहे हैं अपने आप के लिए, है ना। तो थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ते हैं. So if I find it, with the general observation that each one of us wants to be happy, but if we check the state of our being, there is gap. I want to be happy, but there is no continuity of happiness and prosperity. So there is this gap, between my aspiration and my state of being. My aspiration is to be happy, and at this moment I may not be happy. So there is this gap between what I really want to be and what I am at this moment. So now we have to start looking at it. What are we doing to fill this gap? Is the gap getting filled up or getting wider? Now we can explore into it. So I said, there should be control. I should have this control on whatever news is getting broadcasted. I should have control on the environment. I should have control on the way my family members are interacting with me. So if I am taking such effort, so that everything out becomes well for me and then I'll be happy, will it be ever possible? That now we are going to explore, right? So we will go ahead. So now whatever effort, now you can pay attention to this right part, right? That has been changed. So now we can check on our effort. So whatever effort we are taking throughout the day, is this effort for continuity of happiness and prosperity, or the effort is only for earning money, ensuring physical facility and its accumulation, है ना? तो ये सिर्फ एग्जाम्पल है कि हम लोगों ने ऐसे सोचा होगा कि हम वेल्दी बन जाते हैं, रिच बन जाते हैं, तो उसी डायरेक्शन में हमें हमारे एफर्ट्स को शुरू किया है ना. रिच बनना, वेल्दी बनना मतलब क्या है कि मैं ज्यादा से ज्यादा पैसे कमाऊं. फिर जो भी फिजिकल फैसिलिटी का मतलब है, जो भी है ना मेरी डे टू डे नीड्स को फुलफिल करने के लिए, जैसे मुझे लैपटॉप चाहिए, मुझे मोबाइल फोन चाहिए, मुझे खाना चाहिए, then I may be needing a car to travel. So whatever these facilities I'm using so that I can nurture the body, I can take care of the body, I can rightly utilize the body. So whatever these physical means I'm considering, these are all physical facility. So we can just check it for ourselves that whatever effort I'm taking throughout the day, is it for fulfillment of this A part or it is towards the fulfillment of B part. Okay, so you can provide your response now in the chat box. Effort कहाँ पर हमारा लग रहा है हमें? क्या आप देख सकते हैं अपने efforts को? A या B कहाँ है? आप शेयर करेंगे चैट में? Will that be okay?
Yes, students, you can write in the chat box.
We can write down what our efforts are towards, है ना. हमारा जो प्रयास है वो कहाँ हो रहा है ज्यादा से ज्यादा, है ना. हो सकता है दोनों डायरेक्शन में हो, तो हम थोड़ा सा एनालाइज करके परसेंटेज कहाँ ज्यादा है उधर भी हमारा ध्यान दे सकते हैं. Will that be okay?
Ma'am, students are writing in the chat box. Divided opinions. Some are writing A, some are writing B.
That's fine. That's fine.
Some are writing even both. Brahmajyoti is writing both.
हाँ, yes, we are taking effort, है ना. Now with very little interaction with you all, है ना. हम अभी बहुत कम समय के लिए अपने आप में एक्सप्लोर करते हैं ना अभी, तो कोई बात नहीं, हम और ज्यादा से ज्यादा केयरफुली इसको ऑब्जर्व करके ओपन रख सकते हैं, है ना. क्या ओपन रखना है? हमारे पूरे दिन के एफर्ट कहाँ चल रहे हैं, हम एक दिन ऑब्जर्व करके फिर इस कंक्लूजन पर आ सकते हैं, है ना. तो जब मैंने इस सेशन को पहली बार अटेंड किया था ना, तो दैट टाइम बिकॉज वी वर देयर doing this course with quite a good amount of time, I was able to see it for myself that till that time I was doing all of these things so that I earn money, so that I ensure physical facility for me and my family. And I was thinking, जितना ज़्यादा accumulate करेंगे ना, उतना ज़्यादा खुश रह पाएंगे. So for me, I was able to relate it this way, है ना? So now, because I had assumed that happiness and prosperity will be ensured only when I have enough physical facility. फ्रिज हो जाए, एसी आ जाए, कार आ जाए, फिर और थोड़ा सा बड़ा घर हो जाए, ये सब हो जाएगा ना, तो फिर हैप्पीनेस है, तो फिर प्रॉस्पेरिटी है. ऐसा मैंने अज्यूम करके रखा था, है ना? तो जो एफर्ट मैं ले रही थी ना, वो इसी डायरेक्शन में था. तो उसको छोड़कर दूसरा जो एफर्ट था, वो तो मुझे लग रहा था कि बिल्कुल ना के बराबर है ना? जो भी मैं एफर्ट ले रही हूँ, it was almost for accumulation of physical facility throughout the day. So when I was able to do it for myself, I was able to see, if we observe it, physical facility is necessary for all of us. Of course, है ना? खाना नहीं होगा, है ना? If we do not have sufficient clothes to protect us from winter, you know, how we'll be able to interact in, you know, this kind of session? हम कैसे बात कर पाएंगे? लैपटॉप नहीं है, मोबाइल नहीं है, तो फिजिकल फैसिलिटी तो जरूरी है ना? बट वी जस्ट हैव टू चेक, है ना, दैट फॉर एनिमल्स इफ वी ऑब्जर्व, so for a cow if I observe, when it gets a stomach full of grass, it becomes comfortable, sits and chews the cud, है ना? लेकिन human beings के क्या साथ क्या होता है, हम इसको जरा देखते हैं. When a human being has a lack of physical facility, the person becomes uncomfortable and unhappy. अभी मुझे लग रहा था, पता नहीं मेरे फोन को क्या हो गया है, आई एम जस्ट गिविंग एन एग्जाम्पल, थोड़ा ठीक से नहीं चल रहा है, तो आई टोल्ड माई फादर कि पापा अभी देखो मेरा ये फोन जो है ना बिल्कुल भी ठीक से रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं कर रहा है, देखो मेरा सारा काम जो है ना मोस्टली लैपटॉप और फोन से ही होता रहता है, आप जरा देख लो कि मुझे तो अब जो है ना नया फोन चाहिए. ही सेड ओके, है ना? So by the time I was getting this new phone, I was all the time thinking about phone only. So I used to be very uncomfortable and very unhappy. अरे ये देखो मुझे अभी एक मैसेज सेंड करना है, देखो ये कितना टाइम ले रहा है ना? But once the physical facility is there, now the person forgets about it and starts thinking about hundreds of other things. जैसे ही पापा ने नया फोन लेकर दिया, बस उसके बाद तो क्या था, उसके बाद तो कई और चीजें मुझे दिखाई दे रही थी. अभी तो ये असाइनमेंट कंप्लीट करके सबमिट करना है, कॉलेज में ये जो डेटा सबमिट करने के लिए कहा था वो सबमिट करना है, इस सेशन को प्लान करना है. तो यू नो, नाउ इफ यू ऑब्जर्व दिस जनरल टेंडेंसी ऑफ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स, है ना, वंस द फिजिकल फैसिलिटी इज अवेलेबल, नाउ वी स्टार्ट थिंकिंग अबाउट 100 अदर थिंग्स, यू नो. सो दिस इज what we can look at. Now we can just see to it, you know, do we know how many pair of clothes we have, है ना? If we have a shortage of clothes, then it becomes a problem for us. But now if we are able to see that we have enough, and you know, do we think of clothes or we start thinking about something else? And if we are not aware about the number of pair of clothes we have, and if we keep on collecting them more and more, what do you think, है ना? कभी वो complete हो पाएगा? No, will be able to fulfill this need of our clothes? Will it happen ever? क्या लगता है आप लोगों को, है ना? हमारा अगर ध्यान ही नहीं है कि हमारे पास कितना है, हमें कितना चाहिए, है ना, और फिर हम पूरा दिन एफर्ट लेते रहे, शॉपिंग करते रहे, will it be ever possible for us to, you know, just be happy about our clothes? ऐसा हो पाएगा? Just yes or no?
Ma'am, students are writing in the chat box. Lavanya has wrote, Lavanya Agrawal, Deepak Jain, Vanshika Suri. They are writing no, ma'am.
Right. No. So for us human beings, something more is required over and above physical facility. It is not, said that physical facility is not required. It is necessary for us, but something more is required. And what is that something more that we will start looking at now? So over and above physical facility, what else is required? When we look at that, we can just observe it in and around our families. So we can just check, is the unhappiness within us and in our families or around the families, is more due to lack of physical facility or more due to lack of fulfillment in the relationship, है ना? मैं और मेरा भाई बोल रहे हैं मम्मी पापा को कि देखो हमें है ना अभी एक एसी की जरूरत है, तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है एसी लाते हैं। एसी लाया और फिर जैसे ही हमने एसी को ऑन किया, इतनी बाहर गर्मी थी एंड वी स्टार्टेड फीलिंग कंफर्टेबल कि वाह कितना सही है, अभी टेम्परेचर सेट हो गया, अभी गर्मी परेशान नहीं करेगी। एंड दैट वेरी मोमेंट वी हैड अ फाइट। अब है ना, क्या लगता है फिर ये जो फिजिकल फैसिलिटी है वो ना होने की वजह से प्रॉब्लम है या फुलफिलमेंट इन द रिलेशनशिप ना होने की वजह से प्रॉब्लम है? ए और बी? We can look at it. No? And once we... Yes, ma'am. Were you saying something?
No, ma'am. The students are writing in the chat box. Vanshika Suri, A. Atul Kumar Yadav, A. Some are writing, Prince is writing B.
ठीक है
And divided opinions, yeah.
Yes, not a problem. It is important that we start looking at it, है ना? So now even if we are feeling that it is more due to lack of physical facility, we can keep on observing it, Once the physical facility is there ensured, will it be possible for us to ensure happiness with just that physical facility, or will be needing something else? So, I got this first prize in the class, and when I go home, if my mother starts scolding me, how I'm able to take it? If I have, just got this new mobile phone for me, and now when I go home, my father is, telling me that you are not doing any of the household, you are not contributing in the family, you are not of any use to our family. If that kind of conversation we have, will it be possible for us to still have that excitement ensured of the phone which we have got? So we just have to check it. And we also now start investigating in this, that how much time and effort are we investing in just making sure of the availability of physical facility or the fulfillment in the relationship. So if, for particular example, I may give, if my mother is not, very happy with me, she's upset with me because of some of the reason. So will it be okay for me to share with her the time which she requires from me? Or it will be okay that if I just take a sari and gift it to her? What will be more appropriate at that particular time? We can just find it out for ourselves. So now if we keep our observations open, we can see to it that the unhappiness is more due to lack of fulfillment in the relationship. But we are spending most of the time and effort in the accumulation of physical facility. So with this observation, now we look at it, then we will be able to see to it that for human beings, physical facility is necessary, but relationship is also necessary. If it is told to us that if we come first in this particular semester of our class, we'll be sent to one island where we'll be getting each of the physical facility which we aspire for. हर कोई सुविधा हमें मिलेगी, लेकिन हमारे फैमिली मेंबर्स को हमें उस ट्रिप में साथ में नहीं लेकर जाना है। तो क्या लगता है हम लोग वहां कितने दिन तक रह पाएंगे? पहले तो हम खुश हो जाएंगे, हम कहेंगे अरे वाह सही, अच्छी अपॉर्चुनिटी है, हम 15 डेज तो आराम से रह लेंगे। फिर उसके बाद उस नो मैन लैंड पर कितने दिन हमें रहना पॉसिबल होगा? So with this example, if we are able to connect, then we'll be able to see for human beings this relationship is also necessary. So that is the fundamental difference between animals and human being. That for animals, this physical facility is necessary, and for human beings also it is necessary. But for animals, it is necessary as well as adequate. But for human beings, physical facility is necessary, but it is not adequate. Something more is required. So now if you observe this diagram, you will be able to see this relationship and physical facility is what is needed for human beings, right? Now we can again check. So even if we recognize can just observe. We do get into some arguments, we do get into opposition and fights, even in our family, with our close friends, with our colleagues at work, in the marketplace, है ना? Every time I have a fight, I just want to resolve it. हम सोच रहते हैं कैसे इसको just complete कर दे, है ना? बस इसको resolve कर दे, हम सोचते हैं. We do say sorry, we just patch it up. We promise that we will never fight in the future. हम मम्मी को बोलते हैं हम सिबलिंग से fight नहीं करेंगे. But you know, are we able to ensure it for in continuity कि हम fight कभी नहीं करते हैं? या फिर ऐसा होता है even though we don't want to, the fight again takes place, है ना? And in this it happens that the other person says, अरे इसने शुरुआत की थी. I may say the other person has started, and we say I am all right, the other has to improve, and the other would say मैं तो ठीक ही हूँ, इसने ही कुछ अच्छा काम कर लेना चाहिए, है ना? So the other wants us to improve. If this goes on, there are series of reactions, and we may not speak to the other for many days. We have arguments, debates, and we may have observed it in the society. These cases of divorce are also increasing or decreasing. है ना? पहले तो इस वर्ड को प्रोनाउंस करना भी बहुत अनकंफर्टेबल माना जाता था, बट नाउ देयर इज नो टैबू ऑन दिस वर्ड, राइट? So we can just explore these relationships in our family, in our friends, around us. If we observe it, we will be able to see that even if we recognize relationships around us, we may be seeing these oppositions and arguments. So what is the reason behind this? Why it is happening? Now, if we see to it that if we have not understood the relationship, will it ever become possible for us to fulfill it? So it is necessary to have right understanding about the relationship. So along with physical facility, relationships, right understanding is also essential for human being. Are you able to relate to it? आप सभी अब आंसर कर सकते हैं. ये important है कि ये तीनों चीजें है ना, relationships, physical facility, right understanding, whether all of these three are required or not, yes or no, that is where you can reflect upon. Yes, students, आप relate कर पा रहे हैं? If you think that I should provide some more examples, you can that way convey it to me. Just by looking at time, I was thinking I should be able to convey the things to you, and you can keep that exploration part open.
Ma'am, students are writing in the chat box. Almost all of them, Rishabh, Bamal, Karthik Saini, Roshan Sharma, so many are writing Prince. They all are writing yes, ma'am.
Yes, है ना? तो इन तीनों की हमें जरूरत है ना? So we can just have this observation. Are we working on all three? है ना? How this right understanding can be developed? Are we looking at it? How the relationships can be fulfilled? Are we looking at it? How we can get enough physical facility? Are we looking at it? That we can just see to it. है ना? If now you can check. If all of these three are required, what would be the priority? Now can you tell me, students? ये आपका reflection मेरे लिए बहुत जरूरी है. आप बताएं कि अगर हमें शुरुआत करनी है ना, सही की तरफ अगर हमें शुरुआत करनी है, तो क्या लगता है where we should put the first priority to? First priority कहाँ होनी चाहिए? You can write it this way, 1, whatever your option is. You can use this short form, RU for right understanding, R for relationship, and physical facility P. So you can provide your this priority list. 1 पर क्या हो, 2 पर क्या हो और 3 पर क्या हो. आप थोड़ा सा यहाँ टाइम लेकर मुझे बता सकते हैं चैट बॉक्स में.
Ma'am, our students are very prompt. Like Rishabh is writing, Rishabh Bamal is writing, right understanding is important. Some are writing P. Okay, might be for physical facility.
हाँ,
right,
ठीक है.
Yes.
ठीक है.
We are really reflecting in this session.
That is what is the purpose of this session is. That's nice. है ना? आप जैसे ही अपने आप में इसको रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगे ना, उसको भी ओपन रखें, बार बार सोचें कि मैं ये जो रिलेशनशिप का ऑप्शन दे रही हूँ, है ना, जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ आई एम थिंकिंग फॉर मी इट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू हैव रिलेशनशिप्स इन माई लाइफ, तो नाउ व्हेन आई स्टार्ट लुकिंग एट रिलेशनशिप्स, है ना, मेरे लिए रिलेशनशिप मतलब एवरी डे गेटिंग अप एंड जस्ट टचिंग द फीट ऑफ माई मदर, अगर ये रिलेशनशिप है तो उसकी वजह से पूरा दिन मेरी मम्मी को हेल्प होने वाली है क्या, है ना? तो रिलेशनशिप्स को समझे बिना अगर मैं ये एक ही काम करती रहूं तो क्या वो मम्मी के लिए और मेरे लिए, है ना, म्यूचुअली फुलफिलिंग होगा या नहीं? या फिर मैं एक काम कर लूं, है ना, हर दिन मम्मी को एक गिफ्ट दे दूं, सुबह उठकर मम्मी को एक गिफ्ट दे दिया और कहा देखो मम्मी यही हमारी रिलेशनशिप है ना? तो फिजिकल फैसिलिटी मतलब गिफ्ट है ना, जो हमें नेचर से मिलता है, तो जो हर चीज हम यूज कर रहे हैं हमें नेचर से ही तो मिलता है ना? तो अगर मैंने मम्मी को सिर्फ वो गिफ्ट दे दिया तो क्या लगता है फिर हमारी रिलेशनशिप इंप्रूव हो जाएगी? हम बात भी ना करें, है ना, कुछ इंटरेक्शन ना हो, सिर्फ, है ना, एक गिफ्ट दे दिया सुबह उठ के मम्मी को, शाम को आए कॉलेज से फिर एक गिफ्ट दे दिया, तो क्या फिर वो ठीक है? या फिर हम ये समझे कि मम्मी हमसे क्या एक्सपेक्ट करती हैं, हम उनसे क्या एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं, और हम दोनों के लिए इस रिलेशनशिप में म्यूचुअल फुलफिलमेंट कैसी हो उस बारे में कुछ बात की जाए, और फिर वो हमारे लिए रिलेशनशिप, है ना, कुछ म्यूचुअली फुलफिलिंग हो पाएगी। तो अब हम थोड़ा थोड़ा ध्यान दें, है ना, ये एग्जाम्पल्स हैं, सिर्फ हमारा ध्यान इधर जाए, है ना, कि जरूरी क्या है। तो जैसे ऋषभ ने बहुत प्रॉम्प्टली कहा था ना, तो दिस इज हाउ वी हैव प्लेस्ड इट, दैट हैविंग द अंडरस्टैंडिंग अबाउट रिलेशनशिप एज वेल एज फिजिकल फैसिलिटी। तो समझ किस बात की हो? संबंध की भी हो और सुविधा की भी हो। तो अगर हमें रिलेशनशिप की समझ हो गई तो वी will be mutually happy, I'll be able to ensure this feeling of trust and respect for my family members, for people around me. And when I have this right understanding about physical facility, then there will be mutual prosperity at the level of the nature, है ना? अभी शुरुआत में है ना, कोई एक शेयर कर रहे थे स्टूडेंट कि ये जो प्लास्टिक का प्रॉब्लम है बढ़ रहा है ना, कितनी छोटी सी बात है। हम कहते हैं मैं कुछ सामान खरीदने जा रही हूँ तो मुझे बैग कैरी करने की क्या जरूरत है, मैं प्लास्टिक की बैग को ले लेती हूँ, प्लास्टिक की बैग को ले लिया, सामान घर पे आया, फिर बैग तो फेंक दी, है ना? तो नाउ वी ऑल आर अवेयर दैट इट टेक्स 1000 years टू डिग्रेड द प्लास्टिक, राइट? हम सभी इस बात को जानते तो हैं, है ना, समझते हैं क्या इस बात की तरफ अगर हमें ध्यान दे पाए तो कभी भी फिर हम ऐसी फिजिकल फैसिलिटी यूज करेंगे क्या जो नेचर के लिए, हमारे खुद के लिए, हमारे अराउंड जो भी लोग हैं उनके लिए इतना बड़ा ट्रबल क्रिएट कर रही है ना? तो जानना और फिर समझने की बात अगर की जाए, है ना, हमारी लाइफ में, तो देन देयर विल बी प्रॉस्पेरिटी। अब म्यूचुअल क्यों कहा है? तो मेरी एक्शंस की वजह से, है ना, मुझे तो वो चीजें मिल गई, लेकिन रेस्ट ऑफ नेचर के लिए भी क्या वो प्रॉस्पेरिटी बना रहा? मैंने, है ना, जैसे कुछ फल लिया, फल खाया, उसका जो कवर है वो फेंक दिया, तो इट बिकम्स कंपोस्ट फॉर द सॉइल, दैट इज फाइन, इट बिकम्स म्यूचुअली एनरिचिंग। But then if I take this plastic bag, will it be ever mutually prosperous for the nature, or nature will just struggle so that this plastic bag can somehow be removed from it? So that we can now check. So that is what is the current state of ours, is that we are mostly focusing on the physical facility, and in this we all the time, if we feel deprived, then we are exploiting, we are depriving other human beings as well as we are depriving and exploiting the nature around us. And now this desirable state where we all want to go is this, that we now understand the things, है ना? ये right understanding, जैसे आपने कहा था पहली priority अगर है तो कैसे right understanding हो कि मैं खुद समझूं कि मेरी हार्मनी कहाँ पर है, मेरे परिवार का सुख कहाँ है, सोसाइटी कैसे ठीक रहेगी, व्यवस्था नेचर और एग्जिस्टेंस में कैसी बने रहेगी, अंडरस्टैंड करके इन चारों लेवल पर जीना, this is what is the program to fulfill the basic human aspiration. And at the end, now just I would put up this proposal that happiness is to be in a state of harmony. व्यवस्था में जीना, है ना? This is what is happiness is all about. And unhappiness, if we, just look at it, then if I am forced to be in a state of contradiction, है ना, जैसे हम लोगों ने कहा था to nurture is what is naturally acceptable. लेकिन अगर हम अपने आप को, है ना, हर टाइम कुछ जंक फूड से फिलअप करते रहेंगे, will it be, in line with my natural acceptance? तो मेरी नेचुरल एक्सेप्टेंस के साथ मैं इन लाइन में नहीं हूं, मतलब मैं कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन में हूं, अंतर विरोध है, तो उस स्टेट को कहा गया है अनहैप्पीनेस. तो हैप्पीनेस मतलब टू बी इन स्टेट ऑफ हार्मनी विच इज इन लाइन विथ माई नेचुरल एक्सेप्टेंस. मैंने चेक किया टू नर्चर इज व्हाट इज नेचुरली एक्सेप्टेबल एंड अकॉर्डिंगली आई एम फीडिंग माई सेल्फ विद द न्यूट्रिशियस फूड. दैट इज व्हाट इज हैप्पीनेस इज. And now if we talk about prosperity, so this feeling of having more than required physical facility. So as we checked it with clothes, now if I'm able to see that my requirement for a week is to have 7 pair of clothes. Now if I'm able to see that I have, 8 pair of clothes. So now with clothes I'm settled. So that is this feeling of prosperity, to have more than required physical facility. Now अभी प्रॉब्लम ऐसा हो रहा है कि हम रिक्वायरमेंट पर ध्यान ही नहीं दे रहे, हम सिर्फ हैविंग मोर पर अगर फोकस कर रहे थे, तो will it be ever possible for us to have this feeling of prosperity? If it is not there, then I may feel deprived. I may keep on accumulating and exploiting. But even if for one thing, if you started from clothes today, if you, see that your requirement is in line with, what you have more than the required physical facility, then the person, is having this feeling of prosperity. इस एक particular cloth के लिए भी अगर हम कर पाते हैं, तो now with whatever more I have, I'll be thinking of rightly utilizing it. मेरे पास ज्यादा है तो naturally, है ना, I would see that now whatever extra I have, now I may be liking it to share it with others. I may be thinking इतना सब cold है, हम कितने सारे YouTube पर advertisement देखते रहते हैं ना, हम देखते हैं कि कितने लोगों को ठंड में enough clothes नहीं होते हैं, तो now I may think of sharing it with those who are in need of it. So the person, if he is thinking of himself as a prosperous person, thinks of sharing, rightly utilizing and nurturing the other. Otherwise it becomes, just accumulation and exploitation. So this is what is the transformation which we are, expecting by having this course, in our curriculum, to shift our focus from just focusing on physical facility towards having this desirable state of placing the right understanding, then relationship and physical facility in the said order. And that is what is the purpose of this course, to understand harmony at different levels: human being, family, society and nature existence. So to sum up, I would say the desired state which we are thinking of is to have this right understanding, relationship and physical facility, all the three. That is important. We would like to have all of them, but with the correct priority. And that is what is the holistic development is, to transform from the current state to desired state. And when we start looking at it, we are able to see that happiness is to be in a state of harmony. And when there is this contradiction, it is termed as unhappiness. And if we talk about the prosperity, it is this feeling of having more than required physical facility, but identification of required physical facility becomes the first task. Yes, so with this is the home assignment. You have already listed down aspirations and concerns. Now you just have to make a table like this. This page will be shared. You can take it from the faculty members, and then you can just have a table like this. You can just list down your aspirations, and you can just see how they can be placed in the column of right understanding, relationship and physical facility. So if, for example, just now I take this example of food, good food, so food is the physical facility which is needed to nourish the body. So this is how it is placed under the food, right physical facility column. We talk about good health. So good health is coming across right understanding, relationship and physical facility, because with the good health I'll be able to interact with the others well. I'll be able to participate well whenever such kind of sessions are there, for example. And also it is my physical facility. I am able to rightly utilize my energy. So that is becoming the physical facility. And you can also put up your efforts like this, that how much of your time you are spending in right understanding, relationship and physical facility. So can we say that today's this 1.5 hour session which we have spent together has, we have invested our time of this in development of right understanding. So that we can just count in here. Yes, these assignments parts can be shared with you all. I'll be sharing it with you all, with your teachers. Then in turn they may be shared with you. Ma'am,
Yes,
I'm
please.
handing over the session to you. And
Yes,
we can have 1 or 2 reflections from our students. And by that time I will get time so that I can share the assignment link with our students. Will that be okay, ma'am?
That is perfectly fine.
Ji sir, thank you.
Hello. I'm sorry, I just lost the link. Am I audible?
Ji.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We can ask the participant. Anyone wants to speak? Yes, students, anyone? You can raise your hand. Or you can write on the chat box also. Ma'am, I don't see any student raising their hand. So anything else, ma'am, you want to say?
Ma'am, if okay, I'll be sharing the quiz link here, which is a Google form. So I'll be keeping it open for next 10 minutes. Okay. And will that be okay?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Appear for it. I have
I'll request you to keep the link open for a good time, because the students will be engaged in another class.
Yes, sir, as we had conversed it. Yes, sir, I'll be keeping it open and sharing it just now. You can just check if it is getting opened. And I'll be needing a moment to just put up my thank you note, and then students can start appearing for it.
Yes, ma'am. It was a really very interactive session. And students, as you also mentioned, ma'am, in your statement, that this is, sahi shuruat. So these all students are actually from the BBA first semester. So for them, it is the right time to start, self-reflection and to be very aware of yourself. So students have a lot of takeaway from this session, ma'am. Thank you so much for conducting this session and making it so interactive for our students. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Nidhi ma'am, for being here with us on this platform.
Gee, thank you so much, ma'am. And I would also like to thank the students for connecting it very well, even if we are meeting online. And yes, also I would like to thank you, ma'am, for being there all the time. And Rajesh sir and the institute for having this a good start with the students. So now if the students are interested, we can think of having this course, a credit course, which is there. UHV2 is a 3 credit course, which we already have in our institute. So in this direction, we all together can think of having the subject. So that's it from my side. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, ma'am, so much for conducting this session. Thank you.
Thanks
Students, the feedback link is open. Okay, all have to give the feedback link. fill the feedback form. It is important for your certificates.